Hey everybody, so the other day I was watching a Scramboli's reviews video over the 2019 anime winter season, and I have a lot of issues with this video because this video is basically emblematic of some problems I have overall with some people within the anime community. And it's not like to say that Scramboli's reviews is a bad channel or he's not good at producing videos, but I disagree with his opinions in the video. Does this mean that he's wrong? No. But the reason why it's important to state your disagreements when someone else makes a video that you vehemently dislike, or parts of it you vehemently dislike, is so that you can give a different perspective so that other people can understand that not everybody thinks a certain way about something. And if you're going to review something, if you're going to represent something, then for every one person who says one thing about a show, if you are passionate about that show, you have every reason to make a case against them to justify why you like the show and why other people who like the show are not justified, but like you can realize that there are probably certain things that you probably missed about the show, right? And yeah, when it comes to the winter anime season, there are two shows that came out in his video, and by which his opinions kind of was like, what? Are you serious? Like, for example, Dorohedoro and Eizouken. He talks about Eizouken as if the first two episodes didn't have plot in it. He talks about it as if like it's a freaking slugfest, and yet he contradicts himself by saying it's got interesting characters, it's got fun situations and scenarios, and when the plot actually kicks in, the plot started in episode 1. Okay? If anybody was actually paying attention, using their eyes and ears, using their ability to read subtitles, they would know that the plot started as early as like the very first scene of the episode. And I can make that case. Because in the beginning, while it is if anybody knows anything about the difference between plot and character, the difference between plot and story, plot are events that happen in the story that play into the overall narrative. Story is what those events mean to the overall narrative. So that's the difference between plot and story. So let's analyze the first few minutes of the first couple episodes. We have episode 1, where we see the scene with Asakusa going and exploring the household, and then seeing future boy Conan, and then being enraptured in the world of animation by looking at the scene of future boy Conan. Now, what this already establishes from the very beginning of the episode is this sense of understanding of the value of anime and the value of exploration. This informs us about who the character is instantly and what they desire and what they like, right? So every single moment, it's like going forward, every single moment, every single plot thread ties into the overall story of what's going on. Nothing that happens just happens. Even in episode 2, everything plays into the story. Nothing is filler. It's literally there to establish either the characters, to establish their motivation, to move forward in the direction of what they're trying to do. For example, an important plot moment in episode 1, when Kanamori literally tells the girls, you are too young to worry about the rules. You should be able to go out here and just do it. Just do it. It doesn't matter what the rules of the dynamic are. Rules are meant to be changed. That's an important plot moment. That's an important plot thread. That conversation is what led to the idea of them producing anime. What led to the idea of them making things, right? Another plot moment. Going earlier in episode 1. We have the scene when Mizusaki is running away from her father's people, right? What does this establish about Mizusaki? Throughout the course of the scene, we have explanations about how her parents don't want her in the anime club. So why is this relevant? It's relevant because it establishes an important plot thread of the reason why she can't be in the anime club, and the reason why she can't be involved in anime is because her parents don't want her to be involved in anime. And this is important because it plays into the overall story about anime production and the challenges that come with anime production. And then people are just like, well, he was just like, well, if you're not really into anime productions, you may overlook this series or whatever. I'm like, dude, okay, what's going on, man? Like, if there's one thing that I know that's for sure is that the premise for most people, I know it matters. But you shouldn't promote that sort of logic all the time, because then it just makes people not want to watch it, makes people not want to watch the shows that you actually are passionate about. Like, for that segment of the video, it just sounded like he just wasn't confident in what he thought about the show. But yeah, if you feel passionate about the characters, if you really like the characters, and you're saying that there's no plot in the very beginning, or you can't really discern what the plot is, then I would suggest rewatching the first couple episodes and paying attention to the dialogue and paying attention to stuff that actually happened, because so many things happened in that first episode. A lot of things happened in the second episode. In the second episode, they actually get a club. The plot thread is them getting a club and figuring out the chemistry of their group. That's the point of the second episode. And then they establish some animation techniques that not only are informative in a lot of different ways, but build on the personalities of the characters. And the thing that's important, that a lot of people don't realize, is that characters before plot make a good series. Because if you have good characters, very well-grounded, really well-established characters, then when the plot kicks off, you're instantly already caring about what's going on. That's why episode 3 is so amazing. It's because you already care about Mizusaki, Kanamori, and Asakusa. You already care about them. And so when the story actually, well, not the story, not even the plot, because the plot was established from the very beginning, but when the characters start making their project and come up with the ideas for their project, for the movie, for the club committee or whatever, it hits you because you're like, dang, they made it this far. They were able to actually produce something. I mean, they were actually able to come up with a really cool idea, and it only matters because you care about the characters. If you're having a very plot-centered story, like this reminds me of older 1990s anime. A lot of anime that a lot of people like to criticize as not being very plot heavy, and they say, oh, well, whatever. The first episode of Trigun, the first 2 episodes of Trigun, I could argue, are very similar to the first episodes of this series. Now, they're mostly character building episodes. They're mostly there to establish the personalities of the characters. But at the end of the day, it still has plot in it. It still has story in it. Like I said in the beginning of this video, plot is to do what? Plot is a series of events that happens in the story. Story is what those events lead to, what those events mean, and what the overall purpose of those events are. Plot is details. And the story has a lot of details. So Scramboli reviews in this segment is shoddily representing the first 2 episodes of the series, which are some of the best first 2 episodes ever. The first episode is the best first episode of anime I've ever seen. And I'm gonna get into that when I make a video. But this is getting too long. I'm running out of space. Deuces. Scramboli reviews, your video's still dope, but this